Our top stories now, where the leader of the Democratic Alliance has written to the public protector. He's threatening legal action if Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane does not release a report in which President Cyril Ramaphosa has been under investigation. We're now joined on the line from the DA by Mr. Malatsi. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program. Why do you want this report to be made public in a rush?
Good evening, Peter. Look, the context to this was that a complaint was made by Mr. Mkhwebane, if you remember very well, late last year. As is required by law, the public protector has a 30-day period within which he must table a report upon the decision to make an investigation. Subsequent to that, several weeks ago, the leader wrote to the public protector and eventually had a meeting with her where he was inquiring about the status of the report. The public protector indicated that that report was at a final stage and it was due soon. Be that as it may, it was still more than 6 months beyond the time frame with which he is legally allowed to have finalized a report. And the developments of the weekend raise another serious concern, which is the indication that snippets of that report were reported in a Sunday publication, and we have the view that given the fact that one, that report is long overdue, and two, that snippets of that report are already out in the public domain, having been clearly leaked, it is all fair game to ask of the public protector to release that report, failing which will explore the option of legal action.
All right, so if that Sunday report is to be believed, the story is actually that the document has been sent to the president to get his response or his version of what happened. Shouldn't we wait for that?
Look, that will be trying to anticipate what the work happens. I mean, there is a three-pronged process. When a complainant lays a complaint, it is up to the public protector to make the call that they'll make the decision to, one, investigate, and upon doing so, they'll contact all the relevant parties that are affected, but they must at all stages also keep the complainant abreast of developments, so that as the complainant, we know very well where we are in terms of those developments. And you'll remember that early in the year, the public protector indicated that he had approached the presidency for them, as is required by law, to provide their side of the story. So it can't be that even beyond that first exercise, we are still at the stage that the president still has to provide some form of responses to the report that was out. I mean, there are two entities in this stage who are aware of the report. That is one, the public protector's office, as the office that compiles that report and investigates it, and as you now indicate, two, being the presidency, because the presidency would have at one stage been presented with the preliminary evidence that the public protector has gathered and sought their side to respond to that.
Could it be that there's new evidence that he needs to respond to, in which case then you want a fair process, and that might mean waiting another week?
That would be trying to speculate where the status of that report is. Hence, we have called for its full release, because only the public protector can answer that question with absolute surety, given the fact that she has previously indicated to us that the report is at final stage. It was due to be finalized soon. But the other key component here, which a lot of people are forgetting, is the fact that the time frame within which legally she should have completed the report has lapsed. So we are outside of that time frame.
Has she given you any reasons why the report was delayed for so long? I'm sure you've approached her asking for answers.
Well, in terms of the discussion that has taken place previously when Mr. Mkhwebane sought to meet with her, she had just indicated that the report was at its final stage, because of the amount of work they've had to do. But be that as it may, there is a key principled issue here, which is the guidelines of the laws that govern the time frame for the public protector to conduct and finalize the reports.
All right, so some people are saying that you're just playing politics here. What do you say to that?
Well, that's absolute nonsense because, one, a complaint was raised and registered with the public protector. She took the decision to investigate because there was sufficient national interest in the issue, but also because of the prima facie evidence that was available at the time. And secondly, it is the responsibility of the complainant that at different stages that they can seek to understand where the process of that report is. And as is incumbent upon the protector in terms of the rules that govern her office, the time frames for delivering report is something that cannot happen whether she feels good or not about it. She must stick to those time frames. So there is nothing politicking here. It is about holding the office of the public protector accountable for the manner in which it is legally supposed to conduct its work.
And in closing on another matter, the Zondo Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, the Deputy Chief Justice has said that he wants a full inquiry to understand why Parliament failed to protect taxpayers with their money being wasted when whistleblowers from Treasury put forward complaints about what was happening, and that Parliament failed to act on that. The DA is very much a part of that Parliament. How could this have happened?
Well, I'll tell you why it would have happened. It would have happened because the ANC's majority in portfolio committees and in the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces railroads any form of sanity in the interest of protecting the party's interest, even in government.
Did you actually even voice those concerns in the House?
Absolutely. I mean, if you were to check the history of the DA's account in fighting wasteful expenditure, the history of the DA's program of fighting fruitless expenditure and how public monies get squandered by government departments, the evidence is in there. It is the responsibility of the governing party that should take responsibility for the squander of public and taxpayers' money as the party that is in government.
Did you raise specifically those reports that were delivered by Treasury regarding the anomalies that they had found, the money laundering?
Peter, you can go through the accounts of SCOPA, which is the Standing Committee of Public Accounts, through the performance of the DA in the Portfolio Committee on Treasury. There is consistent evidence of the DA's quest to get accountability and to fight for the prudent use of taxpayers' money. It is the ANC's government that should hang its head in shame and take responsibility for this. And the Deputy Justice, if there is one organization that should take all the responsibility, it is the ANC's government through its abuse of majority representation in the structures of Parliament.
Okay, Mr. Malatsi, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Thanks for your thoughts. That was Solly Malatsi from the Democratic Alliance sharing his thoughts with us on two issues. Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane's leaked report, we believe, and also the actions of Parliament failing to account for public money, Palisa.